Excellent.
Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Pleasure Explosion. I'm Thomas Marshall, and with me this week I have John O'Peck.
Shaboy. Sorry,
Jack
Nick.
Cruz.
What up, dog?
Ashley Hobley.
Hello, everyone.
And Dylan Blight.
Sipping on gin and juice,
Lay back. With my mind and my money and my money and my mind.
And two Snoop Dogs. which we'll do for the fact that I didn't actually come up with fun nicknames or middle names for you this week. So
I have a list
It's
written
all right. We
down.
don't need that every
so
week.
prepared.
You have a list of nicknames.
I have a list of nicknames for everyone just to mix it up.
Jesus
Yeah.
God.
Well, I think
Very
last
organised.
time I did nicknames that had something to do with my topic, or maybe it was just something to do with our chat the previous week. But
It's
they were
generally a
good,
mixture,
and I've dropped the ball this week. But
Very
that's fine.
disappointing. Fired.
Fired.
Tom, step into my
I'm gone.
office.
Okay, that was an easy episode. Thanks for joining.
Wrap it up, guys. Pack it in.
We're done here. No, so this week I thought that we might talk about booze, the drink. So I was at work on Friday, offered a beverage as you do at the end of the week, and I had a cider, and I got about halfway through the cider, and I was like, you know what, I'm really not enjoying this. Fuck it, I'm gonna go home.
You know what the problem
and
was? Is you were drinking cider.
Well, no, that's not the problem, because
fuck
there is absolutely nothing wrong with cider. And I just had a little moment of, this is such a long way from when we used to play cock or ball.
What?
Excuse me? Excuse my what?
Yeah, and so I thought,
Expand.
hey,
That's only
you
me
know
at some
what sounds like
certain
a good
clubs.
idea? I will tell the guys about cock or ball that we used to
Okay.
play.
Please do.
And
Are you
and
sure
then
you want
open
to?
the
That
table.
sounds incriminating.
It's not. So for 5.5 years while I was at uni, I worked at a bar here in Wellington. And at one point in time, I can't remember exactly when, but there was 3 of us that lived in a house together, and we decided, or it was decided by the other 2, that we would sort of open the back cupboard and see what random liqueurs and crap were in there.
Oh, good. That's always a wise
and-
decision.
Not knowing what they were, maybe partake in 1 or 2 of them so that we could learn. And being 20, 21-ish, we decided that the best way to do this was to get the first Thursday of the month off work and drink an entire bottle of one of those things each. And sort of share what we thought and just let general hilarity ensue. So we called it cock or ball because either way you don't want it in your mouth. Because there are all these terrible liqueurs and stuff like that. Yeah, and it was terrible. And I just thought there was quite a contrast from needing to drink at least 12 standard drinks, which was a box of beer of these awful liqueurs with whatever mix we decided. And then go into town and have a fun Thursday night. So it's, one particular cock or ball Thursday, I managed to draw. So half a step back. We used to draw out of a bag what we would be drinking, and sort of we'd
You
hold
put a
it.
lot of thought into this.
A lot of thought went into this. So we'd have like brown paper bags for bottles of wine, fold up all the different things that we could possibly drink that nobody had tried before, throw it into the bag, and then one person would hold the bag sort of toward their crotch and sort of shake it up and down, and we would all chant cock or ball, while each person would reach into the bag and select the thing that they were drinking that
Did you ever accidentally
Thursday.
touch shaft when you were reaching into the bag?
I am certain that a bit of shaft touching happened here and there, but it's nothing that we
Nice.
distinctly remember or talk
Nothing
about
between
afterwards.
fans.
Absolutely. And a particularly good cock or ball Thursday, I managed to draw tequila from the bag, And so
Attaboy.
proceeded to drink a 700ml bottle of tequila and orange juice all to myself. I ended up being the last man standing and thought, hey, because it's Cockleball Thursday, what we do is go into town. Doesn't matter that the other two have combed it out. Fuck them. I'll go and have a good time by myself. So had a taxi call to the house, jumped into the taxi and told him that I wanted to go to town. Halfway there, I went, maybe this is a bad idea. I will go to the then girlfriend's house and I will just go and stay there. Because it seems like a better idea than going out by myself. Got around to her house. She put me to bed. And I proceeded to vomit the width of her room, tequila and orange. So I lay on the bed up against the wall on one side and power vomited onto the wall of the other side of the room.
And that was how she became your ex-girlfriend.
And well, it was probably a contributing factor. And I didn't drink tequila for
I've never power vomited.
quite a long
As a side
time.
note.
I have.
How?
Because I'm not a crazy person.
Yeah, I still
Yeah.
struggled with tequila after that.
You have to drink.
To
You have to
this
get to
day.
a weird stage to get to power vomiting. I think.
Do you?
Yeah,
I hate vomiting, so I'll
I
try
don't think
anything
anyone
I can
enjoys
not to vomit.
vomiting, but
No, but like I
it
really,
happens from time
really
to time.
I'd rather like just start shitting out my ass in the middle of the street than like vomit.
Really?
better than shitting out your mouth, which
I've-
I suppose.
I used to
suppose is exactly your point. Isn't it?
I used to vomit. I went through a period where I would vomit almost every time I went out drinking, but it would be good because I would then be able to keep powering on through the night.
No,
So-
I think that's the opposite of good.
No, it
Okay.
worked out well. Like I would be like, get through it and I'd be like, oh, I'm no good, oh, I feel not good, and then I would throw up and I'd be like, all right, I'm good to go again, and I'd be like, pff, all the way through.
It's party time. Come at me, ladies.
Yeah.
I just vomited. Come at me, ladies.
Yeah, I didn't make it like
exactly.
a big thing. I would like sulk off to the bathroom or behind a tree or something and just let one rip and then back to the party.
We're good to go.
Yeah. All
No,
right,
I
second
was.
wind.
I was never one for throwing up like that, or like a lot of my friends used to make themselves throw up so that they could
Yeah.
sober up a bit and keep going, or even on the way home just so that they felt better the next day.
Have a water.
To be clear, I wasn't like doing it on purpose, and if I had a choice, I would not do it. But it got to a point where I was like, this is working in my advantage, so I'll just keep rolling with it. But it was just a weird stage of my like drinking history where it was like every time I would just get to a point where like I would just have one sip of whatever I was drinking, it would go down the wrong way, and all of a sudden we'd be like, ooh. And you have to do the thing, you have to like swallow, you have to keep swallowing. You're like, don't let it come up, and you just sort of take a deep breath, and it was a weird time. in my
Getting
life.
them mouth sweats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
They're the
mouth
worst.
sweat. Yeah. And, you make good
Just
of
your
a bad
body
situation.
lubricating it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So yeah, I wanted to start with that sort of terrible story of a 20-year-old me, a game that we used to play, and the fact that I managed to vomit the width of my ex-girlfriend's bedroom as a result.
The
And
X is emphasized.
X is emphasized, and see if any of you maybe had a story to match from your drinking escapades in younger years.
Jack can go since he's the one saying he froze up every 5 seconds while drinking.
Oh man, there's plenty. I just think like I always think back to like the first time I ever got drunk, which was with my dad and my uncle and like my cousin. And like we went to the footy and then we went back to my uncle's place and we were all just sitting around, everyone's having a beer, and I had drinking VB, which is, if you don't know,
Disgusting.
VB
Quality
is disgusting.
beer.
It is the definition of cat piss. It is honestly terrible. And we're just sitting around like the table out in the courtyard and having a few beers, and I was at one, and I'm like, oh, this isn't too bad. Had another one, and another one. All of a sudden I had 6. I'm like, this isn't so bad. What's everyone always talking about? I'm feeling a bit merry. I'm like, this is good. Anyway, so then I stood up, and it was all downhill from there. I sort of staggered through to the bathroom and threw up all over my uncle's bathroom, and it was not a good time. It was not a good time. And I've not really ever drank. I've had 2 VBs ever since then, which I scarred me for life. I couldn't even drink beer until I was like 20 because of that. Like the first time I used to drink like
How
rum.
old were you then?
What would have
This
been
first drinking story.
14, 15? Young, too young. But it was, yeah, I mean, that was just sort of, then from there, it went from there, and I was like drinking like bourbon and, God, I've gone through so many stages of like different drinks. Like I started off like obviously beer the first time, and then I'm done with that, never drinking that again. And then it was like bourbon and like Jim Beam and Cougar and all that kind of stuff, like, you know, pre-mixed cans. And then it went to like vodka, like Red Bears and Cruisers and stuff like that, UDLs. And then it was...
What are you, a teenage girl?
And then it was Bundy. Yeah,
He was at one point.
At one point I was, yeah. Back when I was a girl. Back when I was a little girl.
You don't get to be a grown-up girl without having been a teenage girl first.
That's it. And then like rum, like drank Bundy for years, and then I went through this weird...
Bundy and Coke, mate.
Bundy and Coke, yeah. And then I went through this
Bundy and Coke.
weird phase of just drinking straight alcohol, which was again just a terrible idea. Like we'd just go and get a bottle of, you know, Bundy and just drink it straight, and it would go through like a whole bottle in a night, and we'd just get absolutely plastered. And now I can't drink like brown liquors. Like I can't. I drink beer now, and like rum, bourbon, whiskey. It all just, it's all terrible. Like I don't mind an old fashioned every now and then because it's got a bit of like sweetness, a bit of citrus and that in it. But like that's about as close as I can get to brown liquor these days because it's just makes my stomach curdle when I smell it, when I taste it. So now I just pretty much drink beer and Sambuca. That's pretty much it. Galliano.
How? What? Why did you start drinking black Sambuca? It's like the most disgusting thing on the planet.
Oh, I remember
you're correct.
I remember when it started. Actually, I actually prefer white Sambuca, to be honest, or white Galliano. I think they're both Sambucas, but yeah. So I was at a mate's like work Christmas party, and we were at the pub or whatever, and we were just like shots, and we're just getting all different shots, and all of a sudden I was like, you know, something different to the guy. I'm like, give me something different. You know, I want to try something new. He's like, you want a Galliano? I'm like, sure. And I had one. I'm like, the white one. I'm like, oh my god, that was fucking awesome. And then from that day on, it's just like it's been like my if I go out drinking, I'll obviously be drinking beer, but I will try and have a few shots along the way. Last night I had a few shots with a few beers as well. It's just because it's not too strong, and it's.
Well, it's 38% as opposed to 40. Or...
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I just know it's not as strong as like obviously tequila and things like that. I just find it easy to sort of drink. It doesn't it tastes okay. And the weird thing is like I hate licorice, but for some reason I enjoy Galliano.
That's why I can't drink it. Like the smell of licorice makes me want to chuck.
Yeah.
Let alone drinking a drink that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about it.
Like
I really enjoy it. It does it for me. It's a good sort of like break it up a little bit through the night and just sort of give you a little, because drink, you know what it's like, you're on a big session of beer, it's very after like the 10th or 12th you start to get like bloated and lethargic, and you're like, I can only drink so many beers. And I find that after about 6 I'll have like my first shot, and then it's sort of like I'll have them intermittently, like one every 2 beers, so like I can keep getting pissed and I don't have to like drink as much beer, and it sort of just breaks up a little bit. But I'll have shots of anything else, like I'll have a tequila or something in there, or get some other sort of funky shot made up. I do enjoy a good Sambuca every now and then.
No, you enjoy a terrible Sambuca every
Yeah.
now.
It's all subjective, isn't it? I mean, I'd
It's
say
like one of my
whiskey
first
is
memories
terrible.
of Jack. Sambuca.
Sambuca, lighting it on fire.
Friday night after we all meet, we go to that fucking restaurant.
I'm waiting
I'm
for-
gonna do
I'll
a
do-
shot. I'm gonna do a shot. What are you having, Jack? Oh, white Sambuca. I'm gonna see if they have white Sambuca.
It was
Can you have a shot of something that doesn't taste like shit? No. It has to be this.
we had a shot at the end of that weekend, you and I. Did you
Yeah,
have
we had a
Sambuca?
shot later, but I had to be like, I'm gonna have a shot of something real. What? And then I was like, what's that shit you want again? And he was like, white Sambuca. I'm like, whatever he just said. Like,
I understand why people give it shit. Like, it's a good. I quite like. I think people just need to give it a chance. Give it a chance.
That's right.
Don't knock it. Like, it's good. It's good stuff. But yeah, I'm like, yeah. Drinking's an interesting thing. I'm not like, I don't drink a lot. I only drink when I drink. I drink. Like I make. I won't go ever home and have like a beer after work unless I'm like had like a really really bad day, or maybe I want to celebrate or anything like that. So like every single day I'll come home and have a beer because most days are terrible. But yeah, I'm not that sort of person who'll have a beer with a meal, or even if you go out for dinner, like order an alcoholic beverage to have with dinner or something like that. I'd much rather have like a Coke or lemonade or something. So
Yeah, you would.
yeah, I would. Shout out. But you know, it's I don't see the point of it with alcohol. Like I don't see the point of just having like one beer. Sort of what's the point? It doesn't taste good. Just you want to have like 10 of them so you can sort of enjoy the effects.
You don't like the taste of beer?
No, I think it's terrible. To be fair, I think most alcohol is terrible. That's why I try and pick the least offensive ones like Galliano and beer. But like, and that's the thing with beer. I don't like your fucking bullshit craft beers and your pale ales and your IPAs and your
I don't know what you like because you're like, this shot kind of tastes all right, so I drink it. And then you're like, cider's fucking bullshit, but I drink beer, which I also think tastes like shit.
I'm like I'm going like the lesser of all evils. So like beer, I drink Corona because it's easy drinking when it's like ice cold, and it's
What
just
you should a beer you should try when you come to New Zealand, or if you can get it over in Australia, is Flame.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of Flame, but it's
Flame on, motherfucker.
It's 5 or 5.5% beer, and it tastes like water.
Oh, I love it. I love that. That sounds fantastic.
Honestly, tastes like nothing.
Can you bring some with you to?
You would be able to destroy it. I'll see if I can find a couple of bottles and bring them to San Fran for you.
If I put a can in my, this is just another sort of tangent. If I put like a can in my luggage and like because like it's like pressurized and stuff in the, is the can like likely to explode or anything in my like luggage, or do you think that's safe? Anyone who's like has knowledge of physics and things.
That.
Yeah, that sounds like a Google problem.
Yeah.
Why do you need to put one can in?
I have this like no, it's not. It's actually 4 cans. I have this like
cans.
He wants to
on the
take Coke
plane.
over there.
Yeah, I do. No, I have like, but it's like this. Yeah, it's a whole other story. It's like a memorabilia like Coca-Cola thing. I was going to give to one of the kind of funny guys, but
I'm sure if you had it on your carry-on, it would be fine.
well, I don't know that they would let me take a can on the carry-on. They might try and bust it open and slice someone's throat.
Yeah, no,
that's
it's
true.
too big. It's a weapon. Plus,
Yeah.
it's like the volume.
Can't even take a hot coffee on a fucking plane anymore. They're going to let me take 4
freedom?
cans. All that
Taste
freedom.
that freedom. Have some of that freedom.
Such freedom. Such freedom.
But yeah, no.
Jack, you mentioned the first time you were like ever drunk or drinking, and I cannot remember mine. But
Really?
I'm wondering if I don't know why, but I can't remember what. I am assuming
Maybe you have
it
a
would have
problem.
been a New Year's occasion or something like that. But yeah, if somebody else remembers, tell us
I
your.
can, I'll
tell
go.
us
Do you
your
remember your
birthday.
first kiss? Are you one of those people that doesn't remember their first kiss?
I think I probably do.
See, that,
I can at least like remember an early one.
I can because I've
Happy
only
to chalk
kissed.
that
I've
up.
kissed less than 5 girls, so it's very easy for me to remember.
yeah. But you were in
Is
a,
one
like
of them your mum?
15-year relationship.
Yeah.
There's a 75% chance Dylan was related to most of them.
Yeah. Take what you
Dylan.
get.
Tasmanian jokes.
When did
But
when did you get booze the first time?
Well, I don't know. I drank booze before. This is like the first time I ever got smashed. I don't know the first time I ever tasted booze, but it would have been like when I was. I don't know.
Oh, I think everybody has
Christmas
the
times.
same.
My pop would be like, "Here's a little shot glass with a little bit of wine in it, or something like that."
bit of
Yeah,
sherry,
or
beer
we're
with
watching
lemon.
the-
Sherry.
Shandy.
We're watching the rugby
Shandy.
have a sip of beer.
Yeah.
church.
Yeah. So I don't know about that, but
Could be church.
Yeah.
first time I ever got. What was this? Hold on, I just had it up on my phone because I was trying to double check what it was actually called. It's Oh, right. So the first
How
time
do
I
you
ever
spell
got completely
that?
smashed.
Oh,
Contro.
It's just DA.
Contro.
Contro.
See, Contro
was
is
the,
another
was the first thing that ever
acceptable.
fucked me up.
Was it your nana? That
Nope. Well, it's a Contro
where
and a
did you
bunch
get
of other
Contro?
shit.
Contro is another acceptable liqueur in my book.
Jesus Christ!
It's in the same vein as Sambuca. definitely.
Do you just drink amaretto straight as well?
Sometimes. I have before.
I can't
Okay,
drink
Dylan.
it now because I've got the same smelling it brings back this memory, and it's like it makes me just never want to touch it again. But so I think I was probably around the same age, like I don't know, 14, 13, something like that, I suppose. Because I'm a late end of year birthday, so I probably was 13 actually. We was wagging school one morning. Of
course you were.
Was up at my.
Who needs school?
What's new, Dylan?
Was up at my house, and one of my friends stole this bottle off his dad. And this is what makes it so funny is
The beginnings of every good story. We stole this bottle from our dad.
But like, so everyone took a sip, was like, passed it around. And then they passed it to me. And in my mind, I thought everything was like beer. Like alcohol was just beer. You could just skull it, right?
Oh.
So I pick up this...
That hurts my insides already.
I pick up this bottle. I skull probably a third of it. And I'm fine, right? Because it hasn't hit me yet. I'm just like, oh, that burns. But I'm pretty fucking hardcore for a little kid. Time goes by, we're chilling. My ex at the time is also here because, as Jack already mentioned, it was such a long relationship that any story I tell in past tense probably has her in it. So we're up in my room, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go take a pee. Well, no, we was going to get to that, but it never happens because of what happens.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, I'm feeling fine. I'm like, yeah, no, everything's, this is weird. I'm like feeling pretty drunk or whatever, but I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to go take a pee. And I just remember standing in the toilet, just like taking a pee. And next second, I'm just like falling back. It's completely fucked. And then I go from being fine to para within like 10 seconds.
Oh, it
because I'm on the
happens quick,
ground, and
doesn't
I had
it?
to yell out. I was like, help. It's like, I can't. What? I was like, I can't move anything. Like, I need help. So then she dragged me from halfway across the house back to the room, at which stage it was like trying to pull a really heavy dummy up onto the bed because I couldn't even move my
Dummy
arms,
is the
and
correct word.
Yeah, I had to get like hoisted up onto bed. And at some stage I passed out. She was gone, I guess. And then I woke up to my mum and dad standing in the room being like, school said you didn't show up. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I didn't,
What time was this? So this was like during the morning.
No, this was like, yeah, so this was like,
Contro.
yeah, so this would have been at like 9 a.m. So,
Brilliant.
and school starts at 9.
And
so
you like comb it out at 10 o'clock or?
Yeah, I guess, like an hour later, yeah. So then I pass out for like 2 hours before I'm woken up by them being like, Ugh. So yeah, that was my first drunk story, and now I can't even stand that shit. And that's the only time I think I've ever been para. That's not also, I remembered while Jack was talking, I have technically power chucked before, but it wasn't solely by the cause of just alcohol. There was other things involved. But
Beer and grass, you're on your ass.
yep, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
There was, we went camping once, and I'd been fucking smoking weed all day. And then it was
smoke
like,
weed every day.
I think it was from like 9 a.m. So I was like smoking all day from like 9 a.m. until, and this is like, so now it's nighttime and everyone else is there. We've set up this campfire and whatever else. And we're sitting around. And then I've started drinking in the middle of the day at some stage. And then someone else turns up with a bunch more weed. And I'm like, cool. And they're like doing bongs in this car. So I'm like, okay, I'll go I'll walk halfway across this campsite, go sit in this car. And I remember just being like, this is the worst thing because I just made the worst decision ever because it was like, did one cone, was like, oh, I feel fucking amazing after that. That's awesome. And I was like, cool, give me another one. So I did another one. And I was like, oh, I feel so bad right now. I know what I'll do. I won't stop. I'll have another one to counteract the one that's making me feel bad. So I do another one. I feel even worse. At this stage, I just feel so much worse that I'm like, maybe I should stop. So I remember getting out of the car, walking back to the campsite where my chair was. It felt like it took forever. I sat down, and I remember now I'm getting to the stage where I'm not quite para, but I'm getting there. Like I can kind of move my head, but my arms and legs are kind of just done. But I've just got neck movement left. And I remember just sitting there, and you know how you can usually feel? You can usually feel when you're going to chuck, but this was one of those times where it's just like out of nowhere. I'm just sitting there listening to everyone talk, just sitting there like, I'm completely out of it. And then next second, my head's just like on my shoulder, and then I just, like everywhere towards where the fucking campfire is. Like, okay. Yeah, that was a good story.
You champion.
So don't, if you're going to do drugs, kids, only smoke weed because
don't do them with Dylan.
It's the only drug I'll allow you to
Take a
do
plastic
on
bag
this
with you.
podcast. But don't combine it with alcohol because that leads to those scenarios.
One drink at a time.
Your sculling story reminded me of I think it was my 18th birthday, and we had the party at my brother's house because he'd moved out and he was flatting, and I'd got a bottle of vodka.
I'm sorry, he was what?
Flatting? Sharing a flat with friends, renting a house.
Speak Australian, for God's
flat.
sake.
I don't know the term that you use. So I'd been bought this bottle of vodka, and obviously like relatively boozed at whatever point it was, probably 8, 9 o'clock, something like that. Decided that I would try and... No, I don't think I even decided. I think it was like a peer pressure, it's your birthday, scull some of this vodka. So crack this bottle of vodka open, brand new, and just the last thing that I remember is tipping it up toward my mouth and just putting the bottle vertical. Apparently, I had something like a third to one half of the bottle, like sculled it, just down in one kind of thing, pulled the bottle down and just yelled, "I am immortal," to everyone in the room.
Did you have your almost famous moment?
But I don't even remember.
I am a golden god.
I am immortal. But I don't actually remember anything after sort of pointing the bottle upward towards the sky. It just gone, blacked out.
Does anyone else have like cheap wine stories, like cheap wine bags, or is that just me?
Yeah, got one of those too.
Mine,
but
I was never.
I was going to say,
it was always passion pop for me. That was the thing, like the $4 chuck for art, like for me and my friends
bottles.
was the bottles. It's like the sparkling wine, passion pop, which is just terrible. But
did John or Ash have a story on this? Because you've been pretty quiet so far, Chance. Are you quietly sipping in the corner and not getting into a drunken debauchery or something like that?
No, I would have to say I'm pretty naive. I haven't really drunk that much. I'm pretty morally
Sober?
good in this sense.
What do you mean morally good?
I was trying to think of the words, and those were the words that came out.
I just tell a whole story about like doing drugs and getting completely wasted on alcohol.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm pretty morally good.
I think the word you're looking for is pussy.
Yeah, pretty much. No, it was just a bunch of friends that I wasn't into that sort of stuff. And being an
It's
introvert,
alright.
I don't want to put myself into a situation where I do anything stupid.
There's
we're saying
nothing wrong
this.
with not
Fair
doing
enough.
it.
How much have you like? Is there an occasion where you were?
He was
the
drinking with
drunkest?
us on
Or-
RTX.
Yeah, I was drinking
yeah,
at RTX,
like
but
you-
not
Yeah.
overly.
You were drinking.
I think I've
and
only
not
been like
drinks.
drunk
excess.
like 3 times, maybe.
All right. What's the first time you was drunk then? Let's go with that story. And side note, I'll get Ash drunk next time we're all together.
Fucking right, we will.
That's what I was assuming. That was going to be the end result of this podcast.
Strippers and cocaine, Ash. Strippers and cocaine.
Pretty boring. We
Hookers and blow.
we were just at a trivia night. I just hadn't
What
eaten
kind of trivia?
anything.
What was the
Movie trivia. We're doing a fundraising event,
Very good.
and we
How
just
old
drank
were
a
you?
fair bit. 22, maybe.
I'm taking that with a grain of salt because you don't know how old you are.
Yeah, I don't know how old I am. So. maybe 24. Now I'm doing the maths. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
That's quite a big jump.
Early to mid 20s.
Actually, it
Yes.
could have been last Friday. I'm not sure.
He's never been sober since. He doesn't even remember.
He's a chronic alcoholic and he just
He's
doesn't
like,
realise
you know
it.
the thing about the first time I got drunk? it's still going.
He's like, I've only been drunk once because I've been drunk the whole time.
Yeah.
Ah, if only.
Movie trivia night, Ash.
Yeah.
Yes, so didn't eat anything, just kept drinking, and then I was pretty tipsy by the end of the night, and I had to drive home, which wasn't the best idea.
Oh, dear. Was
Probably
it
not,
like
no.
You idiot.
2 beers tipsy, 4
I
beers,
think it was
6
4
beers?
or 5. One of the guys
Wow.
that I was with was a bartender at that place, so he was supplying us.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Impressive.
Got the hookup.
Impressive that 4 or 5 beers is one of your drunkest stories ever.
Yeah, that's pretty sad, isn't it?
No, it's not sad at all. I said
Okay, that's good.
I said impressive intentionally. Like, it's, yeah.
It's there, not like, yeah. I mean, alcohol's just alcohol. Like I have moral problems with alcohol as well. Like all sort of kidding aside. So I sort of, when people say, I went through a big period in my life where I just didn't drink. Like I can, when people say like you, Ash, like I've been drunk 3 times. I'm not a big drinker. Like I completely get that. I don't like as a thing. I hate alcohol just like sort of as a thing. And I remember like just after I turned 21. Like I was a pretty rowdy. Let's
So-
use as.
I was
as
about to say.
yeah.
Pick your words.
Debaucherous. No, I was, you know, I partied hard from like 15 to like 21, and I remember I got together with Sally, my current partner, just after I turned 21, and I remember like we went out for dinner, and I sat down and I ordered a Jack and Coke with dinner, and I remember it coming over, and I had a sip, and I was like, I don't really want this. I said, I don't really like the taste of it. I don't really like, I'm not enjoying it. Like, I'd much rather just have a lemonade. And I was like to the waitress to sort of come past. Like,
Sprite.
yeah. The waitress is like, you're going to you got like, how's everything? I'm like, you can take this away if you want. I'm not going to drink it. She's like, okay. And she takes it away. And Sal's like, I would have drank it. You know, dickhead. And I went like a year and a half, nearly 2 years without drinking after that.
So did
Just
I.
and
Some
anything?
stage. Weirdly.
Yeah, nothing. Like I just stopped straight out. I was like, I don't feel the need, and it was this weird thing because I just gotten together with Sal, and if you don't know, Sal is a bit older than me, so she was like in her 30s. This like young 21 fresh faced kid, and meeting all her friends. They're like, she's with this. It was just this weird thing. So they're like, hey, there's this young dude who doesn't drink. It's like, is he weird? Is he like broken? Like, what's wrong with him? I'm like, I just don't drink. I just stopped drinking. They're like,
Wait,
have you ever
she
drank?
wasn't over 30 when you got together, though, right?
Yeah, she was 32. when we
So
got
what's the
together?
age gap? Sorry.
11 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't
So
know.
yeah.
Did
so
not know.
No, I
This is
was
old
completely
information, I thought.
oblivious.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
So
I was the
she's
only
the
one that
cradle
knew.
snatcher in that situation.
She's the cradle snatcher. That is correct. Absolutely.
Wow, her and Jono would be
And you're the boy
friends.
toy.
Yeah, I'm the boy. I am the boy toy. Correct. And that was how I was viewed. And it was just this weird sort of thing where everyone was like, "What's wrong with you? Why don't you drink?" Because we would go out to like dinners and parties and stuff, and I would just be there and just like, and just sort of like have my raspberry lemonade and shoot the shit. And they're like, so like, why don't you drink? Like, are you religious, or like, have you never drank? Or like people just ask the weirdest questions. I'm like, no, I'm like, I used to drink heaps. I used to fucking really go hard. And so one day I was just like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. And I stopped drinking. And then a couple of years later, I think it was like my birthday, like a year and a half later, I was like, I might have a drink today. Like having all my boys come around for a barbecue and stuff. I'm like, I might have a drink. And then it just sort of just went back to normal from that.
I would actually admit that I'm probably at a similar point to that. Like I haven't probably the 2 years that we've had Charlie, because it was his two
Charlie's the
two-year-old
dog
birthday.
for
Yeah, no,
reference.
the way you said that is like, it sounded like,
Second birthday?
Yeah, that's I screwed that up and then I just doubled down it. It was his second birthday yesterday, and since we
Aw,
got
happy
him,
birthday,
I feel
Charlie.
like I have drunk very little. Like I think I've only been actually drunk a handful of times, and most of those times were at RTX earlier this year. Like
Yeah,
going
it was.
home. Oh, do you want a beer? Nah. No, I'm
Yeah.
all right, thanks.
Yeah,
to like
I
mum
feel
and dad,
ya.
just like, don't really feel like it. Like there's no sort of conscious health decision or anything weird. It's just like, yeah, I don't particularly feel much like a drink. But that's going to change next week / in 2 weeks' time. So
yo, we're going to be drunk that whole week.
I
FYI.
can pull it out the bag when I need to. But
Strippers
it's
and
not
cocaine.
Like it.
I think you need to play cock
Claire
and
is
ball over
coming.
there.
Yes. Fuck yes.
I think that's an interesting combo, terrible idea.
Which one? Strippers and
We'll
cocaine
see.
or cock and ball?
Both of them.
Both.
Jono,
What if we
how do you
combine
feel
them?
about hookers and blow or cock or ball?
Yeah, not great about that. Yeah, we can do without. We'll have plenty enough to keep us busy in San Francisco.
Yeah, hookers and blow. Yeah. Only
Probably
cigarettes.
What
Yeah.
are
So
your
I
boozy
started.
stories, Jono?
Yeah, I for a long time I was similar to Ash. I didn't drink until I was 19, I think. Like around there.
And was that like a church-going decision, or
Yeah, it was my decision. I just didn't like the party culture. I didn't like the stupidity that I saw from my peers. Thought it was pretty dumb. So my whole first
Meanwhile,
year,
I was there being pretty dumb.
yeah, pretty much.
Can
So, yeah,
confirm it
the-
was dumb.
The concept
judgment.
of having a beer with my parents at like 14 or 15 is like unbelievable to me. But I guess
Really?
that's a very Australian thing these days. I don't know. Jack, how old's William going to be when you feed 6 beers into him?
He's already had one.
Last night was his actual first. No, yeah. Look, it's an interesting one.
Got to keep it quiet somehow.
Yeah. Like I said sort of before, I have like a moral sort of problem with alcohol generally. And so I probably I
How
would,
is it a moral problem?
I don't know if that's the right word to use or whatever, but I have like an aversion to it in just I have personal feelings towards it because of other things in my life that I just like people like. So I'll drink. I use alcohol as like a conduit to like party, right? So like when I drink, I'll drink. So like last Friday night, I'm like I'm gonna have a few drinks. I'm gonna get drunk and watch the footy. Last night, my cousin came over. I'm gonna get drunk. We're gonna hang out, and shoot the shit. Like I don't. People like I get. It's funny. Like I get funny with like when people like drink every night. Like come home, have 6 beers every night. It's just like I don't know. I just don't. It's weird. It's hard to explain. Well, it's not hard to explain. I just don't want to explain it. It's probably that's
all right.
Yeah, the easy way to put it. But I probably like when I feel he's ready. It's sort of a hard thing to sort of put a thing on. Like ideally, it would be like wait till you're 18. But I put him then in a position where he's never had a drink before and he gets to 18 and he's allowed to then go out and drink and he's had no experience with it. He's not, he doesn't know how to be responsible, drink responsible because he's never been exposed to it.
No,
Or do
that's
I,
why you do it before.
yeah, or do I like, okay, you're 16, you can have a drink with what my dad did. He was like, because I was just not a shit, but I did a lot of things that I used to do a lot of bad shit as a kid, but I was good at hiding it from my parents, whereas my sister was
Go
just
on.
dumb. Was dumb and
High five.
just like go out, walk the streets with like a backpack full of fucking Jim Beam cans and just fucking not terrorize, but just fuck around and
Destroy
walk the streets.
letterboxes?
Did you drink at school? Like high school?
Like not
Ever?
at school, not
Or-
at school. No.
Okay, okay.
I smoked a
'Cause we used
cigarette
to- me and my
me
and my friends used
back of the
literally
Oval one
just
day.
drank at school.
Yeah,
Like-
so I never did that. But yeah, so I mean,
Tassie!
I would probably want it like you can drink at home where I can supervise you and you can be, you can be safe and I can watch you doing. This is how you do it. This is what you have to be careful of when you drink, and it sort of introduce him to that. I mean, I'll probably want him
Breaking
to
the
drink.
seal.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Don't, never break the seal too early because
You know what? My theory on this is everyone has to have one bad like experience, so they learn how to like, because I had mine like the first time I drank, it was like, well, you don't do that. I never want to be like that again, and because I never wanted to be that bad again, anytime I drank after that, as soon as I started to head towards there, I'm like, okay, I'll stop. Like that was I learnt my stop zone very fast, so I was always like, okay, I never want to get there ever again, so I'll just stop drinking now.
I definitely don't have the willpower for that, but it sounds like you do, Jono.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, started drinking around 19, and it was more a social thing. Like the friends that I had were always going out, and I found that I had a hard time, I guess,
connecting with them.
just relating to them when I wasn't there. So I did slowly succumb to to that, and it's always been a balance for me of trying to enjoy myself, but not kind of go over that line of just drunkenness, because it is something where I do have problems with it, like morally. But like any time I think that you lose control of yourself is not a good thing, and that can happen when you've had too much to drink. Like I know I've said things when I've been drunk before that
Like pleasure explosion.
Yeah.
I was
Regrets.
going to bring that video up too.
Yeah. Yes.
Insert clip here.
Pleasure explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are things that I've said under the influence that I wish I didn't say, and I wouldn't have said them if I was sober. So, and I'm lucky that I haven't, been caught urinating in public or haven't done anything really stupid. Like a lot of people get into trouble when they drink. And I mean, there are definitely periods where I was like drinking way too much. And as I've gotten older, I'm glad that I'm not really in a environment where I'm doing that. Weddings and, special occasions, I'll always enjoy maybe one or two too many. But I find I can drink quite a bit without, I haven't got a hangover today, despite the going away party from last night and the pleasure explosion that ensued.
Hey, he said it again.
Whoa!
I've already inserted the clip into the show at some point, so.
Oh, great.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
And
Well, you
you're
don't need
gonna
to,
cut that
because
gap out?
I just said it, so you don't need to.
FYI, I'm proud of you,
No,
Johnny.
I need the actual one from last night, which made me laugh.
Pleasure.
Enjoyed
Explosion.
That. I do
It's the
have
laugh at the end.
For context, when
fun
Jono was a
story.
bit boozed
Yeah.
last night, he sent a small video of himself saying pleasure explosion and then giggling like a 12-year-old girl after having said it. And it's fantastic.
It was
And
fantastic.
you've actually already
Made my
heard it
night.
at this point.
Literally made my night. I love you, Johnny.
I'm glad.
Thank you so much for that.
That's all right. But I do have a story to tell. When I was living on Res in Geelong, 2008 it was, and we were getting a taxi home that night, me and three of my friends, and the guy sitting next to me was in the middle seat of the taxi, and he threw up into his hands.
Oh,
Quite
He slapped you in the
stealthily.
face, man.
Yeah. No. So he was trying to hide it as much as possible. He was, he put his hands in front of him and it was all across his arms. And it was pretty gross, but no one
Did you do the
like,
one
said-
where where his cheeks expanded and it starts squirting out the sides?
I can't remember in that great detail, but it wasn't like a massive spew. It was, and no one kind of said anything because we didn't want to bring attention to it. And then as we pulled up at Res, which is the university campus,
okay.
student residence, the person in the front seat got out, another person in the back seat got out. It was just me and this guy to pay the taxi driver. And the taxi driver had noticed the spew, and he was asking for more money as a result. So we're like, okay, here's another $20 or an extra, pretty much double the fare. And he's like, no, you need to pay me more. And then he started to turn around, the car's moving again.
Oh no!
And we're like, well, what's going on, man? We're giving
I'm
him
taking
money.
you back.
And he's like, yeah, I'm taking you to the police station. And we're like, come on, man. We've just there's nothing on the seat. You're not going to have the car washed. It's fine. And he wasn't hearing any of it. He must have assumed that it was a lot worse. I don't know what the police would have done anyway, but
Nothing.
we pretty much just jumped out of the moving taxi
Did you barrel
at that
roll?
point.
Did you arm your roll?
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I'm glad that it probably wasn't
How
the smartest thing
fast
I've
was
done.
it going?
It was going 40 kilometers an hour is my estimate at that point.
Jesus.
Fucking hell!
Yeah, and I got
That is not a story I anticipated from Jono.
a little bit of a rip in the back of my shirt, bit of an oil stain. I jumped out first, and then this other guy, Harry, shout out to Harry, he's not listening, but he jumped out when they turned a corner at the bottom of the road, so it might have slowed down a bit.
So did you pay for the for the normal fare, or did you get away with a free taxi ride?
No, we'd paid, it was like a $22 fare, and we'd paid him
Yeah.
like $40 or $50 at this point. So
Really? And he still wouldn't let you out?
he wouldn't let us out.
What a motherfucker.
Highly illegal.
At
You
least
should've
looked to see how bad it was before.
You should have
Yeah,
struck him.
He must have had some bad experiences.
We don't
in the
promote
past.
violence on this podcast. Thank you.
Sometimes it's necessary. He was holding them hostage. What else are they meant to do? Other than barrel,
He was
other than
also
barrel roll out of the
driving.
car.
He was also driving the car, so I don't know if striking him would be the solution to escaping. Yeah, I often wonder if I was 100% sober, would I have jumped out of that taxi?
Probably not.
Probably
but that's what
not.
alcohol helps with sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were 100% sober, you would have been in a much better position to talk to the police about what had gone on.
Yeah.
When you
I
got
just
to the
didn't-
station as well.
I just didn't want to sit through the extra 15-20 minute drive to the police station. I was like, we're home. I'm not going back into town. Leave me. Let me get out.
I'm real
things to
tired already.
If I said I've also jumped out of a moving vehicle, is that not surprising to you, Tom?
No surprises whatsoever.
That's what I thought. Yeah, okay.
Surprised you didn't. I was actually waiting for you to tell the story. I'm like, oh, surely Dylan's got a jumping out of a
I do
moving
have a story,
vehicle
but I'll
story.
save it because I do have a story, but I'll save it.
Is it a
When we do an
sober
episode
story?
specifically on jumping out of
No.
vehicles.
It will relate to something eventually. It's not related to this one.
It's not
Just
a booze story.
The teaser. I have jumped out of a moving vehicle also. I was going to ask if anyone has any debaucherous like pranks they've pulled on drunk people around them, that kind of thing.
Oh, you have reminded me of a story where I was a particularly terrible person while I was drunk. So we were coming
Compared
home
to
from,
in general.
yeah, compared to how terrible I am
alright.
as a person in general. Coming home from town, it was first year in the student hall, and one person was. So I hadn't walked home with him, but I'd caught up on the stairs going up to our rooms, and he was so drunk that he was crawling up the stairs, having a terrible time. And I don't know where it came from, but somebody
You struck him.
Somebody had a pump bottle that was filled with vodka. I'm guessing it was one of the girls had taken this pump bottle of vodka into town and instead
Nice.
of water. And I decided, I guess you might be able to call it a prank or just me being the biggest jerk out, that I would tell him that it was water and it would help him getting up the stairs. And he should really drink as much of it as he possibly could. Which he absolutely did.
You're terrible.
I think got worse and worse, and I'm fairly certain he slept on the landing that night and didn't actually even make it to
I
his
thought you was
room.
about to say,
Never
I'm
got up the
pretty
stairs.
sure he died from that. That's awkward.
I don't completely remember because I was pretty boozed, and I'm sure he doesn't remember, and I'm not going to say his name, so it's fine.
There you
Very
go.
good. Very good.
I've participated in shaving off all of someone's eyebrows. Sticking
I have not.
Dicks in people's faces and then taking pictures.
Also
I've had
no.
dicks stuck in my faces.
Nope. Well, not to my knowledge.
Random food items stuck to drawing on people.
Yeah, all
giant
that.
dicks and stuff. All the usual. I think this is all pretty normal, right, Joe?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
standard stuff. I wasn't big, never really big on the prank things. We set one guy on fire one night when he was asleep.
Oh,
That
yeah,
wasn't
fire,
massive.
yep.
It was just like
Good old
bit
fire.
of- bit
That's
of
not a
deodorant.
prank.
No,
I've had that happen to me. It's all right.
bit of
Doesn't really-
deodorant on the thing.
Yeah, a bit of deodorant. It's
and
fine.
then sort of just lit it. But
Yeah. It's a good wake up call.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've drank human urine once. That was a good one.
Haven't done that one.
So we were.
Have I heard this story before?
No, you haven't. I don't think I've ever told anyone this story, actually. So now's a better time than ever. Because I swore the two people that were there to secrecy. So
you'll just put it on the internet.
Yeah, why not? Fuck it. We're already this far in. What's a little extra human urine story going to do? So it was when I moved away from home when I was 18 to study, and I lived in like a share house, and so everything, obviously, the majority of
Is
furniture
that like
and
a
stuff.
flat?
it's like a house that several people live in, like uni.
It's a
students
house
and
that
stuff.
you share.
Yeah. So like it's a house owned by a guy and you just rented the room. Like you rented a room from the house and you used all the other stuff for it. So I lived with a roommate of mine, but all the furniture and things in the in the house were already there. Like it was like so. But in my bedroom there was a like a wall unit with a mini bar in it, and it had like was full of like little mini Jim Beams and Contros and Jack Daniels, all the like mini bar alcohols. And a couple of mates came up one day. They just randomly came up to my place and we sort of started drinking and started having like a big night, a big day actually. It was in the middle of the day, and of course, like I'd never touched because I'm like 18-year-old kid. I'm like, I can't touch that. That's not mine. I'll get in trouble. I'll get kicked out of the house. He's gonna make me pay for it all. He never actually said anything about it. But anyway, we kept drinking. We just started getting into it and drinking, and I was blind. And my mate had like drank one of the mini like bar drinks and then pissed into it and went to give it to our other mate that was there to make him drink it. Like he's like, here, scull this one to. So my mate, it was Aaron and Lennon that were there, and Aaron's gone to Lennon. He's like, here, scull this, and I've gone because I'm drunk, and I'm like, and he's like, no, I don't want to have another one. And I'm like, I'll do it. And I fucking yanked it out of his hand. And he's like, no, and I'm fucking down the hatch, and then that's when I power boffed out the window. Like it's lucky I was standing next to my bedroom window. Just open the window, head out, rah, like out the bloody window. And then found out later that it was human urine. It was his piss. So that was that was good fun.
I've never drunk it before, but have a story that somebody in the first year hostel made somebody else drink urine. They were doing like a funnel. I assume you know the concept.
Beer bong?
Beer bong?
Yeah, is that like a funnel with a hose on the end?
Yeah.
Yep. A funnel.
Ours is
And-
named
Talk
better.
Australian, for God's sake.
I don't know the Australian terms. That's why I clarified. So
Beer bong.
somebody had gone and pissed into a bottle of Midori. If you know, Jack, you probably drink Midori on the regular. It's another one of those girl liqueurs.
It's good in Maduri Splice. Is quite nice. It's quite a nice drink.
Jack,
Yeah.
what do you have against cider? I have to know because that seems like it would be right up your alley. It's tasty. It's sweet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Alcoholic.
It's a bit too. I think I don't like this. I don't have anything personally against cider. I just don't like it.
Okay, carry on, Tom. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I was interested in what personal story he was going to have against cider as well.
Cider,
Cider, the concept in this, yeah. So he was doing this funnel, and somebody had put a couple of beers in there, and somebody had peed in a bottle of Midori, and it was, do you want some Midori in there as well? Oh, yeah, sounds great. And so once he was already going with the beer, started pouring from the bottle of Midori, which was actually piss, into the funnel. So, yeah, once that started, you can't stop it. That was a friend of mine did it to somebody that we didn't particularly like in the hostel.
I made someone smoke pubes once. That was pretty funny.
I've seen
Your
that done
own,
as well.
or-
I've seen that done as
It
well,
was
yeah.
my parents were away overseas, and so of course every night was party night at Jack's house. And one of my sister's friends was there who I'd like never liked. We just always like, he was just a shit cunt. And we were like getting into mum and dad's tobacco, like chop tobacco. They used to buy the big tubs of the tobacco and roll cigarettes. And he was like, oh, roll me a cigarette. We're like, oh, okay. And then our friend, I'm going to say his name, Eddie, cut off some of his pubes and rolled it into the cigarette and gave it to Michael, who was the guy. And he smoked it. And it was fantastic. Because he was like, oh,
Did
no,
he
you
know?
got-
Did he figure it
Did
out?
he, did he know?
he did after
he
we
get
told
told?
him. We did when we told him later. I'm pretty sure we told him. Or maybe we just... Yeah, no, we did eventually tell him. And he's like, oh, that's really strong afterwards. I'm like, yeah, it sure is.
When I was like 14 in school, this sounds really mean because it is really mean, but me and some other people all contributed some of our pubes to a whole lot. Then we broke into someone else's locker and like spread it into their lunchbox and then closed the locker back up. Oh, that's
no.
terrible.
Oh god.
That is
Yeah,
bad.
that is pretty terrible.
You know.
You're terrible,
happen.
Muriel.
You're terrible, Muriel.
It seems that three of us are particularly terrible people, and two of us are quite good people.
Yeah, no, I was about to say there's very.
I wouldn't go that far.
I feel like us three
Which
could
way,
probably
Jono?
go back and forth for like several more hours, just being
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, there was this one time. Oh yeah, there was this one time, and Jono and Ash would just be like, "You're fucked up." Like,
Yeah.
Because
They just-
obviously you're not telling the worst stories that you've got because you
I've
don't
got
recount
much
the worst
worse.
stories. Yeah,
I've got
exactly.
heaps.
I've got much worse, but I'd end up in...
Jack just confessed that he drank piss.
Yeah.
And
That's not
he's
even the
got
worst
worse.
story. That's
Yeah.
not even the worst story I've got.
It
I've much
pays not
worse.
to think
And
about
there's ones where I don't want to incriminate people, and there's other sort of stories that I wouldn't. Let's put it this way: I wouldn't want my son to one day listen back to these podcasts and be like, "Dad, what the fuck?" Actually, I'll probably end up telling him anyway. 'Cause, like, I'll be like,
I'm
cool.
happy that happy that I have zero. Like I have some funny alcohol stories. I have no alcohol stories that went like that go dark. If you know what I mean. Like I have
None of them are dark. They're just like
No, but you know some like people
Like you killed a guy, or
No, like no, just like people, especially like in America, I suppose. Like more so in America, people would have like frat parties and stuff, and I'm sure some of that shit goes.
Yeah, too
as
far.
as far as my morals are concerned, can go into
gang
yeah,
rape.
territory.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, that kind of stuff and fucked up shit like that, like sending pictures of naked people, like
Yeah,
that
bad
kind
things.
of
Yeah.
bad things. Like I've never
Illegal things.
Yeah, I've never had that happen in front of me, and I've never like had to witness anything like that. So I'm happy that I've never had any of that fucked up shit happen.
Yeah.
I
Just,
was half
just drunk
expecting you to
shit, that's
say
fine.
you hadn't done illegal things after Ash said
No,
that.
I've done
but,
illegal
that
things.
that would be grossly untrue.
I've done illegal things that I consider quite fine. That's why I'm happy to talk about them. Like,
Nothing that you get a lengthy jail sentence for, though.
no, yeah, I'm happy to talk about fucking smoking pot anytime because I give zero fucks. So.
He torrented a TV series when he was drunk.
You know what I think? Yeah, you know what? Let's go on record. I'll say, fucking pirates they're the worst, aren't they? Everyone agree, right? Just
Yeah.
they're the worst.
Yeah.
All right, this probably seems like a good point.
Yeah, on that note, Jack, where can people tell you how terrible they think you are?
You can tell me all the terrible things or things about me that you think are terrible, ways that I can improve myself as a human being at Cruzy_mate on Twitter. Go and check out some of my videos and shit on YouTube, Cruzy Mate.
I suppose that works. It was not quite the answer we were expecting. Or you turned it into a slightly different answer. Dylan, where can people tell you how terrible they think you are?
At Viva Ladil, VIVALADIL on Twitter. Please and thank you.
Jono, how good are you, and where can people tell you that?
How good am I? I'm okay, but people can tell me that I'm okay over on Twitter at Jono himself.
And for yourself, Ash?
I'm brilliant. And you can tell me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEY,
And at times in my life, I've been a terrible person, and I'm happy to admit it. You can agree with me at TomDaBomb89, TomDabom 89,
Pretty much everywhere except Snapchat.
except Snapchat. We'll go into that one day. Bye!
Blah, blah.
Peace.